Easter Day terrorist attack in Sri Lanka. With your permission, I'd like to update the House on the attack and the UK government's response. On Sunday, multiple terrorist suicide bombings were conducted across Sri Lanka. 6 explosions occurred simultaneously, 3 in churches conducting Easter Day services in Colombo, Negombo and Batticaloa, and 3 more in hotels in Colombo, popular with foreign visitors. Information is still coming in, but we know that over 300 people have been killed. And we know that at least 8 of those, sadly, are British nationals. They include mother Anita Nicholson with her 14-year-old son Alex and 11-year-old daughter Annabelle, teenage brother and sister Amelie and Daniel Lindsay, retired firefighter Bill Harrop with his wife, retired GP Sally Bradley. The whole House will want to pass on our deepest sympathies and condolences as we digest a truly heartbreaking situation. I spoke to James Doris, the British High Commissioner in Colombo, earlier this afternoon, and want to put on record my thanks to him, his team and all the employees of the British Council for their dedication in extremely testing circumstances. One locally employed British Council employee is in hospital with his wife, both with serious injuries, and our thoughts are also with them and their family. Our travel advice has been updated and remains the best source of information for any British nationals or family members who have concerns about the situation. Yesterday I spoke to my counterpart, the Sri Lankan Foreign Minister, to express my thanks for the work of the emergency services in Sri Lanka, as well as pass on our condolences to all the bereaved families. I also discussed what further support the UK might be able to offer. Her Majesty the Queen, the Prince of Wales and other members of the royal family have sent messages of condolence to the President and people of Sri Lanka, and the Prime Minister is expected to speak with the Sri Lankan Prime Minister Wickrem Singh later today. Mr. Speaker, these attacks were a primitive and vile attempt to sow division between people of different faiths. Religious tensions have caused some of the bloodiest battles in human history, and it is sombre and sobering that even in the 21st century, attempts continue to set believers of different religions against each other. Our response must be to deny the perpetrators the satisfaction of dividing us by being united in our condemnation and united in our support for religious tolerance, surely one of humanity's greatest achievements. Just as after the equally horrific attacks on the 2 mosques in Christchurch, New Zealand, we must respond by bringing people together, the exact opposite of what was intended by the perpetrators. It has to be said, the sheer brutality of these attacks was stark. One pair of attackers, after detonating their first explosives in a hotel, waited for people to try to escape before detonating a second device. The device destroyed by security services at Colombo Airport was most likely designed to target fleeing civilians. The attack was complex, tightly coordinated, and designed to cause maximum chaos, damage, and heartbreak. The UK will never stand by in the face of such evil. So today we stand in solidarity with the government and people of Sri Lanka, who have been making enormous strides towards stability and peace following the conclusion of the civil war almost exactly 10 years ago. The Metropolitan Police's Counter-Terrorism Command has dispatched a team of specialists to Sri Lanka, including family liaison officers, to support and assist the families of British victims and the repatriation of deceased British nationals. A recent programme run by Interpol involved the training of 30 Sri Lankan forensic specialists and police officers by UK experts in disaster victim identification, which we also hope will be of additional support. The government of Sri Lanka has declared a state of emergency as the investigation continues. More than 20 arrests have been made, and there are likely to be more people involved in the planning of this attack who are still at large. Large amounts of IED materials have been recovered, including 87 low-explosive detonators recovered from a bus station. There are no verified claims of responsibility as yet, So far, 40 arrests have been made, and counter-terrorism activity continues. The Sri Lankan Prime Minister and President have both said publicly that there will be a thorough investigation into the incident and whether information was handled correctly, and it's important to let that process follow its course. Mr. Speaker, to attack Christian worshippers on Easter, a celebration of peace and the holiest day in the Christian calendar, betrays in these attackers an absence of the most basic values of humanity. Just 2 days ago, the Prime Minister and I both noted in our Easter messages of the dangers facing Christians around the world, 300 of whom are killed every month. In response to such acts, we must redouble our efforts to protect the freedom of religious minorities to practice their faiths wherever they are in the world. And for that reason, the FCO has asked the Bishop of Truro to do an independent report into what more can be done to protect persecuted Christians around the world. The British government will continue to give its wholehearted support to the people of Sri Lanka, and I'm sure the House will join me once again in expressing our deepest sadness and sympathy to everyone affected by these monstrous attacks. And I commend this statement to the House.
Emily Thornberry.